Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex. And today I wanted to give you guys an updated list of all the characters that you can develop on your roster for Extreme Alliance Battle for each of the days. Now I wanted to make this list primarily because the number of characters that are viable has grown so much since the last video, and there's a lot of confusion between which characters are actually better than which, and which characters can actually contribute something which may just be sitting on your roster collecting dust and not helping you out. This is not necessarily a rundown of the top scoring characters for each day and how to maximize those characters, but it's more of a general overview of all the characters that you can use for each day for Extreme Alliance Battle that I've observed. So I'm not going to take just someone's word of mouth, but I am going to look at videos that I've seen people post or in-depth guides that I've seen people put on the Reddit or put on other websites to try and back up their claims that a character can get a certain score. So if I'm missing a character from this list, please let me know, but remember, I need some evidence that they can score what you're claiming they can score. In addition, guys, presume that you need the uniform if I'm wearing them in this video, and also keep in mind that I do place the first character I talk about for each day at the top based on their overall score. However, from there on down, I do try to readjust them based on the difficulty, because I think if you're not hitting 100,000 or more, it should be more about how difficult it is to control the character and get that score than the overall score, especially if you're just aiming for 50,000 to get that gold bonus and help your alliance out a little bit. So the first day is Combat Supervillain, probably the worst one in terms of your choices, and it's one that could see the most shakeup with the new Spider-Man Homecoming update, because we have a lot of villains coming, and they're probably mostly going to be combat type, so we do have that to look forward to. Of course, the top dog is Carnage. A Carnage score can go anywhere from, I would say, about 100,000 minimum, all the way up to about 250,000 on the top end. So there's a lot of variance for Carnage, but he's definitely number one. Number two, I would say, is probably Nebula. She definitely needs either Warwolf or World War Hulk, Ulick, or Crossbones as the leadership, as does Carnage. But she can comfortably do, 50,000 to almost 100,000, not quite there, with her uniform tier 2 with, the right adjustments. Third up, we have Bullseye. Also going to struggle compared to someone like Carnage, but I think he can get about 50,000 to 80,000 by himself. His new fifth skill, Madness Knife, really helps him out in addition to his tier 2 passive, but he will need a physical damage leadership as we've discussed. And the last one on the list, Ulick, doesn't need a leadership because he is his own leadership, so that's good. But I think Ulick can only score about 50, maybe 75,000 max on his own, given just the way his skills animate and the number of AoE hits he has, the number of burst damage skills that he has, but he does have that physical immunity to make it easier on him. The next day is No Restriction, and this one was recently overthrown. Doctor Strange was the old top dog for it, but now, as you guys know, the new top dog is Sharon Rogers with her uniform. Scores with Sharon Rogers can range anywhere from about 400,000 or 500,000 all the way up to 950,000. Almost 1,000,000 points, and it actually goes a little bit higher than that, but she is bananas if you can get used to using her. Second place, of course, is the one we've come to know and expect, Doctor Strange. You can expect scores in the range of about 350 on the very low end to about 750 on the top end with the properly decked out Doctor Strange and supporting characters. All of these characters for the No Restriction Day do need both Phil Coulson and She-Hulk to perform optimally. Third on the list, I'm actually going to sneak in a Jean Grey. I haven't seen a lot of video evidence, but I think by my estimations she can score anywhere from 300 to 600,000, which is definitely not indicative of her price tag in the game, but is pretty impressive for a character that's primarily a PvP threat. The third day is Universal Hero. I don't have any unavailable characters. And the top dog goes to Odin. Odin came in and basically dethroned everybody. You can expect anywhere from 150 to 250,000 with Odin on the top end, and he also provides his own leadership, so that's really good. Second place, I would probably give it up to Robbie Reyes with the right leadership, of course, Satana. All his iframes and the damage, especially at tier 2, you can probably get between 100 and 150,000 with Robbie, which is respectable. Third on the list, I would have to give it to Black Bolt with the uniform. Lots of AoE, gives himself a buff with his own leadership and his new uniform passive. Also going to see around 100 to about 130, maybe 140,000 if you're very, very good with him. And lastly, the character that I used to use, Hellstorm, also needs Satana's leadership like Robbie Reyes. You can probably score between 80 and 120,000 with Hellstorm. It's a little bit more difficult to hit that 100k, but it's definitely doable with him. The next day is Combat Hero, and this is probably the day that has gotten the most flack from the community because of how much it's changed in the last 4 months. And this is part of the reason that I was inspired to make this video. There's been so much upheaval in this one day. It's exhausting. So from the top, guys, the new number one, of course, Logan. Logan, with the right setup and with She-Hulk and Warwolf as your team, co-captains, you can expect anywhere from 300,000 to 500,000 with Wolverine Weapon X, which is nuts. I'm scoring about 440,000 roughly right now. Number two on the list, our very recent paywall edition, who is less than a month old, Agent Venom. Agent Venom, again with She-Hulk and Warwolf, can score anywhere from 200 to 350,000. So he can actually score on the high end more than your average Wolverine, but it's going to be very difficult to get any higher than that. Number three on the list, who we had just gotten used to when Agent Venom showed up, Iron Fist with the new Netflix uniform. He eclipsed the previous best, which was Moon Knight. With Iron Fist, you can expect anywhere from 150,000 if you play well to almost 250,000. I have reports from people in my alliance of 240,000 with Danny Rand. That is insane with a mythic uniform, of course. Number four on the list, Moon Knight, my old favorite. A dog now, but he still has a few tricks. I think you can expect anywhere from 100,000 to 200,000 with Moon Knight. I was personally getting about 190, 195 with Moon Knight with a very aggressive setup. Combat Hero class also has some additional ones that you can choose to use if you want to be a little bit unique, you want to be a bit of a hipster, but you still want to get a decent score. Black Panther at tier 2 can actually score at least 50,000. I would say he can score up to about 110, 120,000 with the right setup, which is pretty fantastic for Black Panther. In addition, with his new uniform, I have seen video footage of Punisher with this uniform scoring anywhere from 50,000 to 120,000 points, which is a lot and is very surprising for, Frank Castle. The next day on the list is the Blast Hero Day, dominated, of course, because it's Blast Male Day by Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange can comfortably score you between 300 and 500,000 on this day. It's less than the no restriction day because you're missing She-Hulk, but you still have Phil Coulson to deck out your team. From here, after Doctor Strange, the list kind of drops off. I had a lot of trouble finding other characters who showed up consistently from searches that I did, but I did find a couple of clips. A tier 2 Star-Lord, actually, with his newest uniform with lots of iframes, the extra crit damage, actually scored a top end of about 100,000. So I would say that a tier 2 Star-Lord with his new uniform can probably score between 50 and 100,000, which is not bad for Star-Lord. In addition, I would guess from what I've seen that Cyclops can score about the same, 50 to 100, maybe 120,000 on the Blast Hero Day, which is pretty impressive for Scott, given that he doesn't have Jean anymore. Anyways, the next day is the Universal Villain Day, and the top honors do go to Dormammu. With him, you can expect anything from about 200,000, because it's very difficult to play him, all the way up to about 350,000 on the top end, which is a monstrous score to get with our, Dark Lord of the Dimension, or the Dimension of the Dark Lord. I don't even know. The next one on the list would be Corvus. I was having a bit of trouble finding him. Corvus, unlike Dormammu, is going to need Thanos' leadership. Dormammu is going to need Hela's leadership to do well. With Corvus, you can score about 150 to 250,000 points on the top end with him. It also helps to have Proxima on the team, but it's not absolutely necessary. Just keep that in mind. But after that, there are really not any more good universal villains. You can try it out with Loki, but I think you're going to struggle to get about 100,000, 110. And it's very inconsistent because if the clones don't constantly target the Frost Beast, your score is going to suffer. So I hesitate to recommend or talk about Loki at all. The last day is the Speed Hero Day, and this is the day that has also seen a lot of fluctuation recently in the heroes that are used for it, like the Combat Hero Day. The number one, of course, is our paywall speed hero, Kid Kaiju. With Kid Kaiju, you can expect from 100,000, I think, as a baseline, all the way up to about 190,000. So he's kind of got the Moon Knight action going on. He can almost go from 1 to 200 with a perfect optimal setup and amazing gameplay. From here, it gets a little bit dicey. A lot of these characters actually need Elsa Bloodstone on their team, so I'm actually going to put Elsa in second place. With her newest uniform all decked out, I think she can score between 100 and 150,000, which is a very respectable score if you attack aggressively and you have dodge ignore. Keep in mind that pairing her with Wong is also going to power up her crit damage and physical attack even more. In the third spot, I'm actually going to put Gwenpool with her newest uniform because she gets the uniform bonus, she has lots of iframes, and she's very easy to play. Even though I don't think she can score as high as someone like Kate Bishop as a confirmed score, I think the ease of play and the fact that she can probably get between 100 and 140,000 is indicative of her value to the speed hero class. Likewise, in fourth place, I would put Kate Bishop. I would put her higher because I think she has an easier score to get up, but it's just that she's very difficult to keep alive. That is the main problem with her, even at tier 2. But I think a Kate Bishop properly geared can get you between 100,000 and, again, 140,000 points. Lastly, for the speed class, Rogue scores a little bit lower, takes a little bit more time to get her damage rolling, but I think with the right setup, again, with a physical leadership in someone like Elsa, she can score between 50,000 and 110,000 points with the right proc and the right setup. So that is my breakdown of all the characters that I think can get you to at least the first tier of rewards, if not the second tier of rewards for Extreme Alliance Battle. Did I miss anyone? Do you have any other Blast heroes to recommend to me for that fourth day? Because that was the day, or the fifth day, that really puzzled me as far as who to use. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know how my list pans out for you if you have any questions about it. And of course, guys, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.